What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday, y'all. So today we're just going to touch on mass phase one, kind of some purpose expectations, how you can kind of manipulate the workouts to get what you're looking for out of it. So we'll talk building muscle versus building conditioning versus kind of building strength, and then a couple just, let's call it nutritional components that may ride along with mass this time around. So as we've done in the past, mass will be in three phases. Starting with phase one will be about a 30-minute EMOM with a 15 rep goal, and then phase two and phase three will kind of start pushing the strength metrics a little more so. So for phase one, what we're looking at is a 30-minute EMOM. You have a 15 rep goal with each exercise. Reps need to remain unbroken, absolutely. And try and have a constant pace to your working reps. As to say, I'm not going to stand up out of the bottom of my 10th squat and pause for a moment and then keep going after it. That will absolutely happen at some point, and that's a-okay. Week one, I want to start in closer to about 40% of our one rep max, regardless of what your goal with mass is. This way we are very likely to be successful with the workout, not necessarily limited by muscle fatigue or conditioning. But as we're successful, we can slowly ramp up weight over time. So like I'd like to say, the longer the runway, the better the takeoff. So let's take our time kind of building that. That way, week one, we're not all of a sudden at a stump and then we're limited on our ability to actually grow over the next 4 to 12 weeks. So mass is going to be 8 exercises in total. You're going to have 2 pushing movements, you're going to have 2 pulling movements, 2 squatting movements, and 2 hinge type movements. You can think hinge is like a deadlift or RDL kind of thing. The more specific these exercises, the more we're going to get out of it. As to say, I don't want squats and the hinge thing to look too similar using the same musculature as the prominent mover. That way we can get recovery between working sets, and I really know what each exercise is addressing, like a front squat for quads and an RDL for glutes and hammies. If we had blurred the water here, or muddied the water, as I like to say, a back squat and a deadlift just tend to be very similar to one another as far as the musculature used, and this can cause a lot of compounding, just wear and tear on those same joints and muscles over the given weeks. So we'll elaborate on our exercise as the program is released October 7th, but you can expect to see some front squats, some RDLs, some bench press, and some bent over rows as your common compound barbell movements. And then we'll have some secondary exercises that will still be compound exercises, but just slightly lighter weights that you're going to have to deal with throughout the 3 rounds that we're working for. So to talk building muscle versus kind of building conditioning during mass, a couple things we'd want to consider. If your real focus during mass this time around is to really build some muscle, build some size, build some strength to work with, for one, regardless of goal, we need a full range of motion on every activity. If you can squat deeper, squat deeper. RDLs, if you feel like you can get a little more range by standing on a plate, hell yeah, stand on a plate, get a little lower on that barbell. Bench press, make sure we're getting as low as we can, touching the chest, and make sure you are locking out up top. And the same thing with our bent over rows. Get the biggest reach or stretch that you can for the muscles. So fullest range of motion you can get with, and as coaches, we're going to kind of help you, guide you through that, because I know it's difficult to really know where you are in space without a mirror reference. Sometimes a video can help. So we'll do our best to kind of help you guide that full range of motion, quality warm-up, all the jazz there. So again, back to building muscle, we want to really focus on your ability to increase the weights for the given activities over the first 4 weeks, the 12 weeks in general, but for now, the first 4. What that means is if I complete all 15 reps unbroken with a constant movement down and up, I should go up weight next week. I also need to make sure I'm eating a good amount of food. The more your weights go up, the more your food should be able to follow that. And I know that can be a little difficult for some, but it can literally be as simple as I'm starting to add in an additional protein shake. Maybe I throw in some honey, or just something simple of adding some little additives. Morgan will be a great resource there. You're always welcome to schedule a nutrition consult just to be able to get some more in-depth ideas, or maybe even talk about nutrition coaching in regards to mass or just in life in general. So increasing weights as you're successful. Another option you could focus on. Maybe I really want to have some big quads. Maybe I've never had quads in my life and I really want some quads this time around. So instead of trying to go up weight on everything, maybe you go up on your front squat activity and your other squatting activity, maybe one other thing, or just that. Like, find a way to really make that thing, that muscle that you want to grow, being the limiting factor within the workout. That way you don't have a bunch of other noise that's going to take away from potentially growing bigger quads. Again, if you're not necessarily sure on like what exercises to go up on for specific muscle growth you're looking for, talk to one of our coaches. We're happy to try and elaborate on those details. So again, 2 ways you can kind of go about it. I just want to get some more muscle all around, all together. This is great for everybody. Lean muscle mass is going to be one of those huge just quality of life metrics that'll be important all the way through your life. You can focus on growing everything. It just might be a little more minute, maybe adding 5 pounds, if even, each week. Maybe 10, you're feeling good, or you started light enough. If you want to be specific about the muscle you want to grow, focus on just increasing the front squats, and you'll probably be able to make bigger jumps each week because you're only trying to address one thing at a time. And again, weight should be starting around 40% of your 1 rep max, just so we have a little more takeoff room over those 4 weeks to actually see those changes and actually increase weights. That way we don't run into a plateau immediately come week 2. This will be hard on the body. Increasing this much weight, all of these compound activities, it will be rough. Keep up with mobility. Try and do your best for sleep management and just general stress management. Again, coaches are here to help out if you need some extra tips or support along the way. In regards to building conditioning, again, we're looking for a full range of motion on all these activities. The big difference here is I'd want you trying to get to a plateau point for your weight. Now, if muscle fatigue is the limiting factor, we are not as prominent about improving conditioning as we could otherwise, and vice versa. Doesn't mean you won't build muscle or strength along the way. You're just going to have a slightly different goal within the workout that will be able to address whatever you want your limiting factor to improve. As to say, if I want to improve my conditioning, but I am getting worn out because my quads are so pumped that I can't continue, as opposed to me breathing heavy, that would be the difference in addressing the workout. So the muscle pump, the extreme quad fatigue, the oh god, I can't stand kind of sensation, that is an hypertrophy effect. That's what we're looking for building muscle. If I get to a point to where the muscle fatigue or the burn is very manageable, and I feel like my lungs are kind of the thing that's the limiting factor, or I just feel like there is a mild muscle fatigue and just good general cardio for 30 minutes of weightlifting, those kinds of things will be great for building your overall conditioning during mass. So again, muscle fatigue as the limiting factor if you're trying to build muscle, and good quality breathing, maybe it's not the limiting factor as far as like you're dying breathing, but you just have a good breath cycle the entire time through. I can inhale in the down, exhale in the up of every movement. That would be a good sign that you are addressing conditioning during mass. That is going to be a little bit easier on the body. So if like this time of year is stressful for you or calorie intake is difficult to try and manage for you, this might be a very reasonable way to address mass, minimize wear and tear, and still reap a lot of benefits out of it. Again, you can still make the strength and muscle gains by coming to a plateau weight. You're getting a lot of reps in, and this is still probably going to be an increased volume based on what we have been doing over the past 2 months. So lastly, as far as nutrition component, we touched on this a little bit already. If you're looking to build muscle, calories need to increase as your weight increases. If you're looking to improve conditioning, it is not necessarily as much of a demand that calories go up. They might need to increase a little bit just to meet what our current increased volume is, but they probably don't need to be going up a ton over time, if at all. And in both scenarios, protein should probably be at a constant. What we are looking for is about 80% to 120% of your body weight in grams daily. So example, if I weigh 200 pounds, then you should be looking to get somewhere around 160 grams of protein up to 240 grams of protein on any given day. So that gives you a good bit of wiggle room, and find what is manageable for yourself. And again, with all habits or exercise, you can start on the low end, give yourself opportunity to increase or improve over time in those scenarios. And lastly, creatine, I will highly recommend throughout the entire process of mass, as it's just going to help out with prolonging some of those maximal effort attempts. especially as it comes to just muscle fatigue or wear out during the workout. You'll be able to push just a couple reps longer, a couple reps harder throughout the process. So hopefully that gives you some insight on ways you can kind of address mass. Again, there's a spectrum here on how we want to focus our effort during this program. So if you have more questions, you're always welcome to schedule a consultation, shoot us an email, talk to me about personal training or Morgan, talk to me or Morgan about some nutrition components or whatever support you may need during mass. Good luck and enjoy the ride, guys.